Tonight's episode is brought to you by the first annual Intergalactic Imagination Connoisseurs Film Festival. Entries are open until December 1st. Will you make your movie? If not, why not? Why you gotta be so lazy? Why not get off your ass and achieve your dream of making a movie and sending it to us? We'll play it. There's awards. There's cash prizes. You never know what's gonna happen. So get off your ass. Submit a film to the first annual Intergalactic Imagination Connoisseurs Film Festival. Ooh, I'm excited to talk about this movie.
You found my card.
Of course I found your card.
You found my ace card.
It's been there.
No, last time it was missing.
It wasn't missing.
It was blank.
Well, I found it.
Hey, did Mike make an ace
An emoji? You know what? I haven't talked to him about that yet. Jeez. I'll get him on it. We'll get an ace emoji so Black Phillip Alvarez can use you as his emoji or his avatar.
That's right.
Very excited to talk about this movie tonight.
Yeah.
You know, I worked on the sequel, the second sequel.
You did?
Yes, I have a screen credit on Army of Darkness.
There are sequels for this?
Yes, you shouldn't say things like that. Yes, there are two. There are two sequels to this.
I shouldn't say things
Well,
like
greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your Duke of Dope Discourse, your master of fun and wonder, your viceroy of verisimilitude.
Very silly attitude.
Very silly attitudes. I almost said that. And your sommelier of cinema, Robert Meyer Burnett. But you didn't come here to see me, did you? You came to see
Elizabeth Gwendolyn Bell, the ace, the arbiter of cinematic excellence,
and the enchantress of entertainment. And welcome to this, the 90th episode
90.
of WINEning About Movies.
10 more, and it's the 100th.
It's the 100th. Can you believe we've done 90 episodes? We've talked about 90 movies.
That's crazy.
It is crazy.
Do I remember any of them?
No. But that's the great thing. We could go back and watch any one of those 90 movies, and it'd be like watching it again for the first time.
It would be.
Like in Memento. Remember that? We did that for this show.
Yes, I do remember.
Do you remember Memento?
Yes, it was the one that went backwards.
I just want to make sure you remembered it.
I remembered.
So this film came out in 1981. It was kind of a cause celeb. Stephen King saw this movie at the Cannes Film Festival because one of the founders of the Cannes Film Festival met Sam Raimi and put it in there. It was not in competition, but it played, and Stephen King saw it and called this movie the most ferociously original film of the year. It was seen as a benchmark of low-budget horror. And it was actually also, the assistant editor on the film was Joel Coen of the Coen Brothers fame, Raising Arizona.
I love the Coen Brothers.
I do too. I love the Miller's Crossing, which we should do once. So before we get into it, we need to pour up some wine. And before you say it, yes, let me change the camera angle. Hello. My 70s hair is getting ultimate 70s.
Well, we should maybe trim that up.
Is this Vintus? I don't know. Vintus? Another Pinot Noir. Is this a Trader Joe's special?
It is.
It is. Another Trader Joe's special. You gotta love Trader Joe's for the wine.
Yeah, you do.
Always good wine deals at Trader Joe's. There's some for you.
Why, thank you. That's not a healthy pour.
Oh, you want more?
Yeah.
You don't think that was a healthy pour?
No. There, that's good.
Oh, is that healthy?
Yeah, there you go.
Or is that unhealthy, depending on your point of view about alcohol?
Well, I only drink
wine.
I only drink wine on this show. That's it. I don't drink outside of the wine. Outside of the show.
Let's drink to Sam Raimi and his Evil Dead. He came blazing on the scene in 81 with his producing partner Robert Tappert. And of course, introducing Bruce Campbell as Ash Williams. Ashley Williams, introduced in this movie. You know, there was even a TV series.
Oh,
so there was 2 sequels and a TV series.
You're kidding.
Ash versus the Evil Dead. This began something that is beloved even to this day. There was even a remake.
Wow.
Uh-huh. That's right. So this
Shall we
franchise.
taste our,
oh yes, let's taste our wine.
Our blood wine.
To the Evil Dead. That's good. Love my Pinot Noirs.
Ooh.
I would like to think that this is the blood of one of the Deadites that we are drinking tonight.
It is.
You know, from the Kandarian demons. This movie was originally called Book of the Dead.
That's a better title.
No, Book of the... Come on. For the Book of the Dead... no, that's too erudite. Evil Dead. It's got punched.
Evil
It's in
Dead.
your face.
I kept thinking it was a zombie movie. It's not a zombie movie.
Well, yeah, but this came out, I mean, Evil Dead. Are zombies evil, or are they just victims of circumstance?
They're dead.
Yeah, but they don't have motivation. They're not
dead,
evil.
See, the problem is dead should not be in the title. Because these are demons possessing live people.
Yeah, but the people they possess are kind of dead and reanimated corpses.
Okay, but not initially.
So are you telling me that you have a problem with the title of this movie?
I do have a problem with the title.
You don't think there's verisimilitude?
No verisimilitude. This is not a zombie movie.
Yeah, but why do you think just because it says dead, I mean, zombies are undead. This movie says evil dead. So the dead, I mean, this
but
does
they're
not...
dead. When they're initially possessed, they are not dead.
Well, that's true, but, I mean, the Kandarian demons are dead.
And the guy who explains the whole thing, like in his book, even says these spirits are not dead or alive. They're just evil spirits.
Okay, so really, this is the first time after 90 episodes you're going to have a problem with the title of The Evil Dead.
I have a problem
One of
with
the great titles of a horror movie ever.
No, it's a terrible title.
Well, do you think maybe the title could be construed as being misleading, but I don't think it's a terrible title. I think it's a great title.
It's not a good title for this movie.
You think Book of the Dead is better?
A little bit better.
But Book of the Dead is so not...
No, it's more interesting because... It's more interesting because there's a book involved.
Well, there's a book involved anyway.
Props.
Don't you think...
There's a book involved in this movie.
No, too many people have already recreated the Necronomicon. This movie, when it came out on DVD...
With human flesh?
Well, I don't think Swag Props is going to make it with human flesh. Although you never know. Malaysia...
You could use
maybe
pig,
you could get
pig
away
flesh.
with it. You could... Yeah, but... Okay, well, I guess leather-bound books are...
Yeah, it's flesh.
I guess human leather. Actually, I would get a prop replica of the Necronomicon bound in human flesh.
No, oh, gross.
I think it'd be kind of... Well, let's say...
Whose flesh? You want to donate some flesh?
Well, that would be even more interesting. You get flayed, Swag Props could flay you.
Oh, now you're getting Hannibal Lecter on me.
I know. Well, anyway, I can't get over the fact you don't like this title.
I don't love the title. It doesn't... But they did that a lot in the 70s. They gave movies titles that didn't make any sense. Really? It was just titles to draw you in, and then the title had nothing to do with the movie.
So this is following a proud lineage of other movies that have had titles that are misleading.
Yeah.
I don't think this title is misleading, though. I think you absolutely get what you pay for when you... By the way, we watched... There's so many versions of this on Blu-ray. This is the version that I have that it's in both 133 and 185. It's an older Lionsgate version.
This wine is good.
This wine is good. And I know there's been so many... I have not... I know there's a 4K version of Evil Dead, but I have not purchased it. So, still rocking this old version. It looked great, though.
Yeah.
It looked great.
It did.
Film was shot in 16 millimeter, so it has that that grainy, we're in the woods look. So, Elizabeth, what is this movie about?
This movie is not about zombies.
Okay, I get that it's not about zombies. And by the way, zombies are not evil. Zombies are victims of circumstance. They didn't ask to become the way they are.
Right, exactly. That's why this is not... And I read some reviews and people kept referring to them as zombies. They're not. They're possessed human beings.
They're human vessels that have been taken over by Kandarian demons.
By demons.
Yeah.
A demon is not what happens to zombies.
No, a demon is not what happens to zombies. Zombies are... there is no supernatural... Well, maybe there is, but there's some kind of a biological explanation for the Romero-esque zombies.
Right. And their mission is different.
They don't really have...
Their goal is different.
They're pure motorized instinct. They don't have a goal.
Exactly. Their goal is just to eat humans and eat brains.
But the Kandarian demons do have a goal.
They do have a goal.
Join us. Join the party. Come down to Kandar.
Come on. Satan is in charge of this whole operation.
Is he? They don't really mention Satan.
Well, where do demons come from? Where do you think they're the soldiers of Satan?
Well, they come from Kandar, the lost city of the Kandarian, the Kandarian ruins.
And that's where Satan
So maybe that's an adjunct to hell.
Whatever. Demons are part of Satan's troop.
These aren't particularly effective demons, though.
No, because I think that they've been asleep for a long time.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
They've only been asleep for as long as reel-to-reel tapes have been in existence, though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
True.
So this movie begins with a group of friends, 2 guys and 3 girls.
So maybe this movie should be called Dumb Demons.
Okay, you know what? This is not fair. I will not have you malign the Evil Dead on this show. Not on this show, sister.
I'm just thinking of a better title.
This is one of the great titles in horror film history.
No, it just doesn't go.
The Evil Dead. I mean, come on, who doesn't want to see this? I remember when, this was definitely a movie that was touted by Fangoria magazine, like Bob Martin.
It should be Evil Demons.
But no. There's something much more poetic about the Evil Dead. Because the term the dead is much more encompassing. Demons is too specific. The Evil Dead's more poetic. Evil Demons is not... I mean, there is a movie, admittedly, it's right over there. I got the steelbook called Just Demons. And it takes place in a movie theater.
That's a scary sounding movie.
Well, it's definitely influenced by this film.
Maybe it should be called Satan's Troop.
That's a different movie. I mean, a troop... No. Are we going to spend the rest of this...
No. Let's talk about the movie.
Okay, yeah, well, I'm asking you. So, 5 friends are going to a mountain cabin.
5 friends are going... Yes, they are. For a little weekend getaway.
Mm-hmm.
And it's up in the mountains, and it's an old cabin that's barely ever used.
We got Ash Williams and his sister Cheryl.
Yeah.
Who you said was, she's the Jewish one. I'm like...
You're not supposed to say that.
I'm like, why? As a Jew, I understand.
I mean, she kind of
acted like one. She acted like a Jewish American princess, let's face it. And I can tell you exactly how they act.
Yeah.
I grew up with them.
I grew up with them too.
So she was kind of the finicky, but that's a stereotype.
It is. So that's why. Why are you exposing me like that?
Well, I'll tell you that she seemed like a Jewish American princess.
Sometimes I tell you things privately.
Mm. But she's kind of the outlier. So Ash is there, and Scott is there. So Ash and Scott are the dudes.
Ash and Scott, 2 dudes, 3 girls.
And Ash, there's Shelley and Linda.
Linda is the Jewish girl.
No.
Oh, Linda's the girlfriend. Linda is Ash's girlfriend, and then the other girl, not Shelley, what's the third girl?
There's Cheryl, sister.
Cheryl is the sister, Ash's sister.
Yes.
Cheryl.
Yes, and then we have Linda, and then we have Shelley.
Right.
And we also have Scott.
And Scott. Scott is the jokester, annoying.
And Scott's girlfriend is Linda, and Ash's girlfriend is Shelley.
No.
Is it the other way around?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. I've seen this movie 100 times. Anyway, there's 5 of them.
It doesn't matter in the end. It doesn't matter because you really don't get to know these people very well.
But I like them.
I like them too.
I mean, you didn't like Scott very much. You think
Scott was annoying.
He was kind of annoying.
He was annoying.
He was kind of a jokester, kind of annoying.
Yeah.
But now this movie opens with a very cool... they basically mounted a camera on a 2x4, and they had 2 guys carrying it around in the swamp. And you see the point of view, like already when this movie opens, you're seeing the point of view of whatever presence exists in the woods. So there's already an evil Kandarian presence in the woods.
It's like a spirit. It's like a part of the demons is awoken or kind of like investigates the woods.
I mean, in a way, maybe you could say this might be Satan himself, because it's an outside force that's overseeing this.
Right. Yes.
Or maybe it's just waiting for
waiting for someone to release the demons.
Yes, and it is the first thing I
like that. That's Satan.
The force is the first entity we meet in the movie.
Yeah, that's
it's the first entity, because the opening shot is the force is whatever that is, that point of view.
It's Black Phillip.
It could be Black Phillip. Whatever Black Phillip is, it could be there,
It's too bad they didn't have a black goat.
So
in the shot.
And we see that, and it almost causes an accident to happen between our stalwart characters and a truck. And then there's even Sam Raimi and Robert Tappert make cameos in this movie. They're the fishermen that when they're when Scott's honking the horn, I'm not honking at you, and they're waving. That's Sam Raimi.
I didn't know. I would have paid attention.
Well, you would never have known. I mean, you don't even know it's Sam Raimi.
You could have told me.
Yeah, I could have. Well, I'm telling you now.
Too late.
Well, anyway, so they get to the cabin.
Well, first of all, they cross over this really rickety old bridge, and some of the planks start falling. And then they get to this cabin that's pretty old, and And
again, I have to point out that Sam Raimi is known for his kind of gonzo camera work, and there's a lot of really cool shots, and one of them is when the car turns. Cool. It turns down the little lane, and it. I don't know if it's on another car or on top of you. The camera follows. And they do a lot of stuff in this movie where the people off screen are putting branches on the camera lens and stuff, and there's a lot of that. And when they were filming this movie, Sam Raimi was kind of winging it. You know, he drew a lot of what he wanted, but he was Dutching the camera a lot.
I think I would do that, just wing it.
Oh yeah, they did, and it was this movie was not easy to make.
Oh, I can't imagine that it was.
Not easy to make. And I think Robert Tappert once said he liked his actors to bleed.
Boy, did he like his actors to bleed.
It's true.
Did he mean for real?
Yeah, I was kidding though. So they get to this cabin.
Slave
Would you
driver.
stay? This cabin is not just a cabin in the woods. This is a shithole cabin. It's like a mountain man cabin that was made 100 years ago.
I've stayed in cabins like that before.
Have you? It'll kind of look like a summer camp cabin, but not as good.
Yeah. I've stayed in a dilapidated cabin.
So this cabin is what it is?
Okay, yes, it's and they're just gonna have a great little weekend away, and it's a little creepy when they get there because the swing that's attached to the porch is knocking into the cabin itself.
Very famously, the big sound effect, the banging of the swing.
But as soon as I think it's Ash reaches
no, it's actually Scott.
As soon as Scott reaches the door, it stops banging, which is very creepy.
It's very creepy.
So they go inside and everything's fine, and then it's what's her name? Not Shelley, not Linda. Who's the other girl? The Jewish girl?
Cheryl.
Cheryl starts drawing the clock.
Cheryl starts drawing the clock, and the presence outside is looking in the windows.
Yes.
And the
windows open and the curtain starts blowing and the clock stops ticking all the way to the side.
Again, they have the great the pendulum and the clock. They get the camera behind the pendulum. They have a rig.
Yeah, that was a cool shot.
There's a lot of great. I mean, you can really see that Sam Raimi was working at a much higher level in terms of what he was doing with the camera, and I think that's one of the great.
He had a natural sense for the camera,
he did a lot of innovative things, and that immediately elevated this film. I mean, obviously this is an ultra low budget movie, but it immediately elevated what you were seeing, and it was innovative, and it makes the movie so much more fun to watch.
Yeah. Okay, so she's drawing, and all of a sudden her hand gets possessed, and she starts like it starts controlling her hand, and she draws this face.
She draws the Necronomicon, the Book of the Dead.
Yeah.
But you don't know that yet.
You don't know that, and she's freaked out, of course.
And one of the things that I didn't notice ever before is that when she's possessed and she's drawing the book, you see veins on her hands, like the possession, like when she's been possessed by the demons. They did that to tell you that there's some possession happening.
Yeah.
The force is. I mean, not that we already didn't know, but I thought that was a nice touch, and I don't know why.
Well, seeing it for the first time, you might not know, especially with the title.
Yeah, but I understand, but it was a nice. Yeah, okay. But I thought it was a nice touch. It was something I never noticed. I've seen this movie 100 times.
But see, they don't repeat that. They should repeat that.
I first got this I had the Japanese Laserdisc of this, and I had Sam Raimi sign it, and he wrote on it, "Beast Witches." Sam Raimi.
Why Beast Witches?
Instead of Best Wishes. Beast Witches, because that was fun.
Yeah, that's cool.
I bet you'd say that was a bad title, too.
No, that'd be a better title.
Beast Witches. I met him when he was scoring Darkman on the Warner Brothers lot. Lisa Henson introduced me to him, and then he introduced me to Danny Elfman. I watched them score Darkman on the Warner Brothers lot.
I haven't seen Darkman, so I don't know what you're referring to.
I know, yes. It's another Sam Raimi movie. I'm just dropping names just to seem cooler than I am. But that is true.
Cool. I think you're really cool.
Oh, thanks, babe. Cheers to me.
Welcome. Cheers
to us. So the Kandarian demon, or whatever that omnipresence is in the forest, that's so in terms of the rules that this is setting up, you don't have to read the incantations in the Book of the Dead in the Necronomicon yet. There's a force out there that if I guess it wanted to, it could, as we find out later.
Well, I think it's, like you said, I think it's Satan trying to get them to read the incantations so that the demons will be released.
But they really can't because they don't speak Kandarian.
They can't, but luckily it's been recorded.
It has been recorded. So what happens? So
she is in her room. Does this happen before he goes in the basement? No. If he goes in the basement first? He goes in the basement first. So they hear a noise. They're eating dinner. And they hear a noise. The hatch to the basement just opens up on its own, which is creepy. And they go over there and they think that there's somebody down there or something, or an animal or something. Scott thinks that's hilarious. Ha ha ha, there's no animal down there. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. What? Of course there'd be an animal down there. You're in the freaking woods. There's probably raccoons down there. Oh, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Anyway, Scott goes down there with the only flashlight that they brought. They only brought one flashlight.
And he apparently disappears.
So, yeah, he doesn't answer. He doesn't come back up. So, Ashley has to go down there. So, he takes a...
Just call him Ash.
Why?
Because his name's Ash.
But
I know his
sister calls him Ashley.
I know, but just call him Ash. I'm just asking you. To me, everyone thinks of him as Ash. No one thinks of him as Ashley. No one says... And Bruce Campbell's coming back to play Ashley in Ash vs. the Evil Dead on TV.
Yeah, but in the movie, they call him Ashley.
Okay, I'm just saying he's Ash. Anyway.
It's like Gone with the Wind, Ashley.
Oh, I know. No, it's not like Gone with the Wind. He's Ash. Just saying. I mean, if you want to call him Ashley, you can call him Ashley.
So, Ash goes down into the basement. I think Ashley is a lovely, lovely name.
Ashley is a lovely, lovely name, but I don't think it suits Bruce Campbell's portrayal of the character of Ash.
I think it does.
I think his name is Ash. Ash.
I think he's a really nice guy, just like Ashley in Gone with the Wind.
Yeah, and what happened to him? Just saying.
Yeah, but what happened to Ash?
Well, Ash comes back. Ashley did not. There was no Gone with the Wind 2, Dead by Dawn.
Well, see, I haven't seen the sequel, so to me, in the end, the demons get him.
Gone with the Wind 2, even windier.
Anyway, so he goes into the basement and he's calling out for his friend, and Scott doesn't answer. Then he sees a door, and there's gourds hanging from the ceiling, who knows why. But it goes through the door, and his friend jumps out at him because he's a dick.
There was a number of jump scares in this movie that you jumped at.
I did jump.
You jumped. I like watching movies like this with you because they.
Hey, I jump. I scream. I everything. Horror films are made for me because I'm the kind of person who jumps and screams at everything.
You know who jumps and screams at horror movies?
Who?
Dave Parker.
Yes.
Who directed Hills Run Red.
Yes.
I want to say, I think one of the most fun times I ever had watching a movie with anybody.
He's in the chat. Hey, Dave, we're talking about you.
He's in it. I think it was, Dave would have to correct me. I think Dave was at my house, and we were watching, was it Below? The David Twohy movie Below?
I wouldn't
think
know.
It was, and Dave was like freaking out.
That's how I am.
I know. You and Dave are very similar watching movies. That's why it's fun.
I've never watched a horror film with him.
It's fun to watch movies, but they have to be movies you haven't seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but to me, every movie is a movie I haven't seen.
Right, even if you've seen it. Just like in Memento.
And even though I know it's coming, I'll still jump and scream.
Yes. So, all
right, so where were we? So, yes.
They're in the basement.
They're in the basement. Then they go in the corner. There is this stuff that Scott's like, come see this stuff. And there's a gun, a shotgun with some shells. And there is a weird book. And there is a tape player.
A big tape deck.
A big tape player with some tapes and stuff. So Scott's like, let's take all of this upstairs. Oh, and then there's this weird sword with skeletons on the handle.
It's like a knife, giant dagger.
Yeah.
Like it's a ceremonial dagger that is imbued with power, but they don't know that yet.
Well, it's a small sword. I mean, it's bigger than a dagger, but it's smaller than a sword.
All right, just call it.
It's Arya's sword.
It is not Arya's.
She named it. What did she name her sword?
Needle.
Needle. It's Needle.
The Kandarian Needle.
It's Needle.
Okay.
Okay, so they take all of it upstairs and they start playing the tape because they're curious. I would play the tape. And they start looking at the book. And the book has all these weird...
And you like the book.
The book was really cool because it has all these drawings.
And what was the first thing you said?
I was like, swag props.
Yeah, but too many people have already made this book.
Okay,
I don't know. Maybe Swag Props does do a Necronomicon version.
Maybe we should look at his Etsy page.
Yeah, I haven't looked. I don't know.
But please don't use human skin.
I don't think you would.
Pig flesh, okay.
Okay.
Anyway.
So we find out that this, whoever recorded this was a researcher, probably an archaeologist of some kind, who has been excavating or studying the ruins of Kandar.
Right.
Now, wherever Kandar is, we don't know. Maybe it's a Midwestern, like it's a megalith thing, like Stonehenge or something. You don't know where Kandar is or was or... Anyway, so him and his wife have gone up there to he's going to do this research. He's doing research, and yes, they go to the cabin with his wife, and then he explains how... At first,
he's talking about his research.
Yeah, and about how if you read these incantations, it's supposed to, and then
it releases the evil spirits,
the Kandarian demons, and then he's reciting these incantations on the tape, so it's as good as reading the book.
But anyway, Cheryl freaks out. And she's like, "Turn it off! Turn it off! Turn it off!" They turn it off. She turns it off at first, and they're like, "Oh, come on, it's no big deal." Blah blah blah.
But Cheryl knows because she's already been touched by the Kandarian, the satanic presence.
Freaking out, which I'm with her. I would have been freaking out. I mean, like, you better turn that shit off. I would have thrown that thing in the fire.
Well, that would have solved. Then their movie would have been over.
Yep.
Time to go home. We burned the Necronomicon.
No way. Being possessed.
So, I mean, actually, this movie is actually teaching you a lesson.
It is.
Like, if you come across the Book of the Dead, the first thing you do is burn it.
You burn it!
And then no more movie,
no
problem.
Many movies have taught us this.
Although, to be fair, I mean, maybe the demons have to be conjured up, and once the incantation has been read, and once you've got the presence out there, even if you burn the book at that time, it might not have done anything because you've just opened that Pandora's box. So maybe because the demons weren't there yet,
right? Well, he
still
says
on their way.
The only way to stop the demons was to disembody.
Bodily dismemberment.
Dismember.
Disembody is something else.
Yes, you're right. Dismember the person.
Yes.
Which he had to do to his wife. He dismembered her. That's why there's a room in the cabin that has these chains. It has a table that you lay the person on, and then you chain them up and you tie them up.
Most importantly, you have a chainsaw.
A chainsaw, but it's behind a poster. Like, how did he know that was there? I don't know. But anyway.
And as I have to point out that everybody would be like, Rob, if you don't, there is a poster for Wes Craven's original The Hills Have Eyes.
I saw it.
Okay.
I saw it.
By the way, speaking of that, do you know that the actual, the Henry Silva Hills Run Red Western has been released, or has been it's going to come out on Blu-ray?
You mean The Hills Have Eyes?
No, The Hills Run Red.
The Hills Run Red what?
There's an original movie called The Hills Run Red that's actually a Western that's finally coming out on Blu-ray.
Oh.
I don't know why I thought of that, because I was thinking about The Hills Have Eyes. It made me think about The Hills Run Red, which made me think about The Hills Run Red Western.
I want to see the Western.
Well, you want to see the Western, but how about The Hills Have Eyes? I mean, how about The Hills Run Red? What am I talking about? I don't know.
Well, I think that you've decided we're going to talk about that on Wednesday.
On Thursday.
On Thursday.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But you're terrified, and we got to figure out a sound thing. Like, you don't want to criticize a movie in front of the director.
I know. I'm scared. I don't want to. Yeah. And
Dave is very sensitive.
I know, right? So I can't. I'm afraid to talk about it.
I'm not.
And I'm also afraid to watch it. Honestly.
Yeah, well, you're going to watch The Shining and Dr. Sleep, but I don't think we can do that with your schedule and all that. We can do that again. We can do that outside of this.
Yeah.
Because it'd be fun to have Dave. We'd have an actual horror director to talk about a horror movie on our show.
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun. I'll figure it out. I'll get the sound taken care of.
Yeah, yes.
Anyway, that as it may. So Shelley, everyone goes to bed. The couples turn in, and Shelley turns in, and she's in her room, and the presence in the woods.
Yeah, she's in her room. Okay, this is where it gets like, come on, man. So she's in her room, and she hears something.
She hears the clarion call of the Kandarian demons. Join us.
Yeah, she hears something. So instead of like going to tell her friends like what the fuck is going on, no, what does she do?
Okay, now I would just.
She goes outside.
She goes outside, but I would like to point something out. She has already had a touch of the Kandarian inside of her. So the call,
it possessed her hand.
But it did possess. It got in her mind. It was able to. So she's already been touched, and so the call. Join us. She's being drawn to it because it's already inside of her. And she's not totally in her right mind. You can't sit there and go, well, why in horror films do they do stupid things?
Yeah, no, because first of all, if you know anything about Satan and demons, you cannot be possessed unless you allow yourself to be possessed.
Oh, Regan McNeil in The Exorcist allowed herself. She was 12 years old.
She probably was messing around with something and didn't realize it.
That is not true. If you will, no. Says where? Where does that say?
Oh, I know a lot about Satan and demon possession because it freaks me out.
Okay, just because it freaks you out, I mean, would you then at least allow for the fact that Cheryl has already been touched by the presence in the woods? So the call of join us, part of what is drawing her out is she's on her way. She's on her way to joining the Kandarian demons. Look, in her right mind, I don't think she would go out in the woods. She doesn't just go outside. She goes into the woods
in her slippers and robe.
And it's in one of the most iconic horror scenes of the early 80s. What happens to Cheryl, Elizabeth?
She goes into the woods and then is raped by vines.
She's
raped by vines.
I mean,
why is that in the movie?
Well, I think as a horror set piece, it's pretty awesome. I mean, not that rape is awesome, of course, but I mean, it's something unique that we haven't seen before. And the idea of nature coming to life, tree branches and all that.
But nature is good. Nature was created by God, not by Satan.
Yes, but Satan is possessed.
Trees are good. They wouldn't rape a woman.
Yeah, but they're not. This is a bad place. This is a place that has been removed from God. It has been perverted, bastardized, tainted. And yeah, it's the tree rape is something that I remember seeing this movie. I saw this movie opening night at the Coliseum Theater in Seattle. I had to wait. It took a long time. It took like 6 months after it had been playing to get to Seattle because this would play regionally. It wasn't like a big... Man, going to see this movie in the theater for the first time with a packed audience on opening night was fan-fucking-tastic. The audience, I mean, blew the roof off the place. This movie delivered the goods. And then, of course, what happens to Cheryl? She comes back.
She comes back to the cabin, and then what? I forgot. Did she tell her friends or what? She's knocking on the door. She can't get in. The door is locked. Nobody's answering the goddamn door. It's a small cabin. What the fuck? Your friend is knocking on the door.
Well, they're all probably getting it on. They were sleeping in their rooms, They're couples in the woods.
They were fully dressed.
They had to put their clothes on.
No. She tries to get the key, which they left on the whatever it's called. And it's stuck, of course. And of course the demon is coming and coming and coming. And finally Ashley opens the door to let his sister in.
And she's all torn to hell.
She is like, her robe is gone. Her nightgown is ripped. I mean, she's a mess.
She's a mess.
She was raped.
She was raped by trees.
By trees. So she goes inside and she's telling him that she was raped by trees. And they're like, what the fuck? What's wrong with you? I wouldn't believe that either.
Well, and then I have to say, a little bit more is going on. They play more of the tape that was earlier.
No, they don't play more of the tape. They already played the tape. And
then what begins is basically a siege.
Yeah, that's it.
The siege is, in terms of what happens next, it is one of, I think, even watching it now, I'll tell you something. I had a friend of mine buy me the videotape of this movie. Before it was released in the United States, it was released in Britain. And it was later declared a video nasty. But a friend of mine brings me...
What's a video nasty?
We could do a whole show. Horror films like this were declared video nasties in Britain. There was a huge video nasty debate. Films were edited. They were pulled off the shelves. This movie had an X rating in Britain.
What?
Oh, yeah. It's a long story.
In Britain?
We can do a whole... Yes.
That sounds very American.
Well, it was a big thing in Britain. It was a big thing in Britain. Wow. So anyway, I got the videotape back, right? I got a VHS tape of this. I was so excited. I put it in my VCR, my RCA VFT 625. Wouldn't play. Would not play. Because I did not know that the UK had a different video standard, PAL. We had NTSC. They had PAL. Runs at a slightly different rate of frame rate.
I know. I used to try to watch French movies.
Yeah, and I was so upset because it cost me like $100 to get this tape. It was expensive.
Dude.
And when I got it, I'm like, and I did a little bit of research, and you live and learn. That was one of the great lessons of my life, Evil Dead. Be careful what you spend money for when you buy things in foreign countries.
That happened to me.
Oh, you did?
I would try to buy movies in France and bring them home. You couldn't play them. France was different. France had a different standard than the UK. They had CCAM. Yeah, but it still didn't work in America.
I know, it still didn't work in America. But so
I had
problematic.
This great anime. I think it was an anime. It looked like anime, but it was The Little Princess. It was the whole series that my aunt gave me, and I couldn't watch it.
Well, this was unfortunate. The Evil Dead had a great illustrated poster. They had a great standard movie posters in Britain were kind of the other way from American movie posters. They were horizontal when ours were vertical, and they were called British quads. And the Evil Dead had this great illustrated British quad, and the American Evil Dead poster, which I spent a really long time getting, and mine was only folded twice horizontally and not down the middle. I gave it to Dave Parker. Dave Parker has my beautiful Evil Dead one sheet. I gave it to him. I gifted it to him.
Nice. That's a nice gift.
And he still has it. But then again,
Pants.
Yeah. Have you been to Pants?
Many times.
I love Paris. Pants is great. I love that country.
Pants is the best.
But then, what begins, a hell's a poppin', blood-drenched, in terms of low-budget horror filmmaking, the verve, I think the only way this movie could have been made is made with the enthusiasm of college students that didn't know what they didn't know. And this
is great. It's a great way to make it.
It is the most gonzo. There is stop motion. There is all kinds of blood effects. Sometimes they turn hoses on and blood comes out, and there's white blood or milky blood.
Yeah, what's with the milky stuff like that?
Some people would say it was a ripoff of Alien, but it wasn't.
It's a ripoff of The Fly.
Well, it was so, and it's just this long siege as each one of the characters gets possessed. and Ash is left to deal with all of this, deal with the Deadites.
Oh my God!
And
they each get possessed. It's like it's crazy.
You were freaking out too.
I was freaking. You know, possession freaks me out. It freaks me out.
And it was great. I mean, it's so great because you have the different kinds of possession. My favorite is when Ash's girlfriend's like, "We're gonna."
Oh my God!
She's like the
so
Raggedy
creepy.
Ann,
and she's like laughing and laughing, and she won't stop. Oh my God!
It's great. And
then
look,
she tricks him by not being possessed. Or pretending like she wasn't.
Oh, it's great. I mean, it's one of the great prolonged horror set pieces ever.
Yeah.
Like, watching this as a middle-aged man, 39 years after I first saw it still makes me chuckle. I still love it. I don't look at it and go, yes, you can see the seams in the makeup, and you can. It's so gonzo and it's so in your face.
Well, I mean, I loved it. I thought it was scary. All the way up until it became a dude movie.
What? It became a dude movie?
Yeah.
How did it become a dude movie?
Okay, so at the end...
You've been saying that lately. There are dude movies.
Yeah, because it's like little boys who like, oh, isn't that cool? Let's just keep doing the same thing over and over. Let's do more and more and more and more and more. Okay, so
and that's awesome. That's awesome.
Like little boys like, oh, that's so cool. Let's keep doing that.
Yeah. Turn on the hoses of blood.
So when they
cut off more limbs.
When they do all this stop motion at the end, it's like, okay, now did 12-year-old boys finish this film?
No, but the spirit of 12-year-old boys did, and that's why it's awesome. Because everybody who made this movie was possessed by their 12-year-old self, and they did what their 12-year-old selves wanted to see.
Yeah, they're like, oh, make all this stuff come out and make the bones like, and then bugs and gooey white.
Yeah,
pus.
you have like oatmeal
they had
and pus
coming out and cockroaches.
And it's awesome. And you know, even watching it now, it's very interesting because this is one of those movies. I mean, I would dare say that while we're getting, like if you're watching Shudder these days, there's a lot of great horror films that are being made. There's a lot of great films. I mean, the problem is I don't know if they'll ever be considered classics the way, because, you know, when a horror movie would come out, everybody would see it. So it'd be like how a song would come out and everybody would listen to the song. So when the horror movies would come out, they would become a thing and like every kid would go see them, you know, or sneak into them. Well, yeah, except you. And nowadays, when horror films come out, there's so much stuff to watch that not everyone's watching the same thing.
It's true.
You know, unless like The Haunting of Hill House comes out and everybody watch that. But I don't think horror films have a grasp on the minds of youth the way...
It's true. Especially like that young people... I mean, there's one thing like where you're not allowed to watch those films when you're young, so that's why you want to see them.
Yeah, there's
and
a punk rock
element. You find a way
element
to see them, right?
Yeah, it's forbidden.
Same with sex. Now, teens, like, they're so exposed to so much stuff, and they have their phones all the time. They can watch horror films. They're not going to listen to their parents like, don't watch that.
Yeah, nothing is...
And so they're exposed to everything.
Same with porn. Horror.
That's why they're not interested in sex, and they're not interested in horror.
Right. Well, I mean, they are interested in horror, but they don't... Like,
but it's like one other movie. It's like every other movie they watch.
Yeah, it is. Like, there's no delineation.
No.
I mean, The Evil Dead was a movie when you're watching it, especially, I saw it when I was... So in 81, I would have been 13 or 14. I don't remember when I saw it. And it still kind of was verboten. All these movies were forbidden. Texas Chainsaw. I remember when my friend Bud Warner showed my friend Bud Warner showed me Texas Chainsaw. I had a bootleg videotape of it, and he showed me that, and he showed me I Drink Your Blood. So we watched, which is I think a Jerry Gross produced movie. So we watched I Drink Your Blood in the original Texas Chainsaw. And I'm like, fuck yeah, man! And I was like, 13 years old. And I was getting to see this stuff, and I'd go home, and I'm like, I had a secret. My parents had no idea that I had just seen the original Texas Chainsaw. And it was on a bootleg VHS videotape in 1980.
But your dad caught you.
Are you going to tell my dad catching me watching porn? You want me to tell you? Your
dad caught you watching porn?
Not just me, but me and two of my friends. And we were just okay. So have I told this story?
You have, but it makes every time.
All right. So, yes, the first time I ever saw a pornographic film. Here's the story. It was The Devil and Miss Jones. Georgina Spelvin. You know, Gerard Damiano. Did he direct it? So, Devil and Miss Jones. I don't know if you've ever seen The Devil and Miss Jones, but it was hardcore, right? And the movie is about a woman the movie opens, this pornographic film opens with a woman who has killed herself. She slit her wrists in a bathtub.
And horror.
Yeah. And then she goes to purgatory. She's going to go to hell for killing herself. And she's like this buttoned up school teacher, and she says, "Well, I don't think I deserve to go to hell, but can you send me back to Earth so I can live out my life in sin so I feel like I deserve to go to hell?" And of course the administrator is like, "Well, that sounds good. Okay." And then she goes back to Earth, and she just has a succession of sexual encounters. Now, I had never seen like gigantic, massive cocks. You know, because you're a kid. Like, I didn't even know. Like, I'd seen girls in Playboy, but I hadn't seen sex before. Not like this.
Okay, you don't have to get into the details. They're going to demonetize our
show. Anyway, what happens is we had a garage door, and the family room was on the opposite side of the garage. My dad rolls in, and my two friends. And by the way, I didn't get this tape. A friend of mine brought it over.
Sure.
And I was sitting on the couch, and it was the middle of the afternoon, and my dad walks in the door. And it was the one time in my life I actually flew. I leapt in one motion. I pushed myself off the couch. I flew across the room and slammed off the TV as soon as I heard the door open. And I'm leaning on the ground with the TV off like this. And my two friends, I think it was Dan Crowley and Randy Aramura.
Hey, don't rat them out!
It was a long time ago. We're talking I was 13. And my dad's just looking at me and he goes, "Turn on the television." And I'm thinking to myself, you know, because this is a story-driven film, maybe I'll get lucky and it'll be a dialogue scene. And my dad's like, "Turn it on." And I'm like, and I pull on the TV and I kind of close my eyes and I'm praying to God in Hebrew because, you know, I was a bar mitzvah boy. I'd been bar mitzvah. I'm praying in Hebrew, you know, Baruch Hu, like I'm just like whatever. No, I mean, she was like double teamed. I mean, she was getting railed hardcore,
okay.
Probably double pen. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Details.
And my dad took my VCR away for a couple of weeks. Sent my friends home, and
what did he do with that tape?
It wasn't my tape. The tape left. I think Dan Crowley got the tape. I'm not sure. And he was in Catholic school, so that made sense. That he was able to get the tape.
Oh, he was in boarding school?
No, but he went to St. Monica's.
Why did that make sense?
Because
Catholics are watching porn?
Look, man, why do you think everybody wanted to get a Catholic girl to be their prom date? You know what I'm saying? Catholics have more fun.
Is that the reputation of Catholics?
Just saying.
I went to an all-girl Catholic school.
And okay, let's run that down. How was your boyfriend?
I dated a boy from the boys' school.
And how'd that go? You Catholic sinners, you.
I wasn't Catholic.
Let's hear it for Catholic school.
I wasn't Catholic.
Girls from the Catholic school. Oh yeah, you were Adventist. Anyway, we have gotten away from this.
Yeah, no, it's just hilarious. Yes, what were we talking about?
So we're talking about the last half of this film is a very long, extended horror set piece.
It is.
That throws everything in the book at you. And
I love it. I love all the possessions and when you can't even like kill them. But like he's the one who heard he was wearing an earbud. I'm sure.
Who's wearing an earbud?
When he listened to the rest of the tape.
Oh, right.
Ashley was listening to the rest of the tape with an earbud. And he learned that you have to dismember the person to get rid of the demon.
I mean, he cuts up his sister.
So he knows this.
Great.
This is the thing, like, okay, he knows this, yet he can't bring himself to dismember these people.
Well, his sister gets cut up. And they bury her, but he can't cut up his girlfriend.
No, he doesn't know. He dismembers Scott's girlfriend.
Oh, you're right. Yes.
Actually, Scott dismembers his own girlfriend.
Yeah, that's true. His sister's in the basement.
His sister's in the basement.
Yeah, they throw her in the basement.
Yeah,
right.
See, I'm telling you, Ashley is a nice guy. He can't bring himself to dismember his sister. He didn't dismember anybody. Except, at the end, he made a mistake. He was going to dismember his
girlfriend, right.
But he couldn't bring himself to do it.
That's right.
And he goes to bury her, and when she rises up again, he chops her head off.
He chops her head off.
She
leaps on him.
She leaps on him.
She leaps on him, which is fantastic.
But he didn't purposefully dismember anybody because he's a nice guy.
And I have to say, it's really interesting. Friday the 13th that we did, obviously, when Mrs. Voorhees is dismembered, the whole slow motion dismembering the head thing, they use that in both movies because, they can't, obviously, they don't have as convincing of effects, but they do whether it's step printed or in slow motion, they do a very good job of the slow motion beheadings with enough gurgling.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, Elizabeth, did you like this movie?
I did. I enjoyed it. I mean, I feel like it's a product of its time. I'm impressed with how scary it actually could be, even though it was a little goofy at times. And, I mean, I liked it up until it became a dude movie.
Yeah, extrapolate more on that, though. I mean, I understand that you think, it's a dude movie, like we liked all that gooey stuff.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I like stop motion. I love stop motion.
I know.
And so it was kind of cool at first, but then it was like it kept going and going and got weirder and weirder with oatmeal and cockroaches, and it just got weird. It got
more awesome depending on how you look at it.
It was like, okay, if it had stopped at a certain point, it would have been like, oh, that was really cool. But no, it just kept going and going, and it got weirder and weirder. Weird stuff, like oozing stuff and all kinds of weird stuff.
And it has a great high-impact ending.
Yeah, the ending,
it's got a whammo ending.
I liked the ending.
The force that's been lurking in the woods.
You think, Ashley is safe. It's daytime now, and he's about to leave.
It's got that Friday the 13th, the bucolic ending. The sun is rising.
Yes.
We're in the woods. Adrian King is in the water. Everything is nice. But then they cut to what I love is they cut to the leaf.
Yep.
And then you see it's the point of view, and the sound effect hits you. And actually, the camera was mounted on a bike. It was on a bicycle. And they rode the bike with the camera on it through the
that's cool.
thing. And then they were pulling open the doors, and it comes out the front, and Ash turns, and boom.
Yes, boom. And that's how it ends, which I thought was a really cool ending. Because you think, Ash, he made it. Because the whole movie I kept saying, he's not going to make it. And then I was like, oh, he's going to make it. And then I was like, oh, he's not going to make it. And then I was like, oh. At the end I thought, oh, he is going to make it. But then, no.
Well, they do make Evil Dead 2.
So he does make it, but is he possessed at the beginning of Evil Dead 2?
See, Evil Dead 2, I have to say, I'm one of these people. I'm a Terminator 1 guy. I'm an X-Men 1 guy. I'm an Evil Dead 1 guy. This is my Evil Dead. This is my favorite Evil Dead. Evil Dead 2 embraces the goofy. And the first 15 minutes of Evil Dead 2, it's called Evil Dead 2 Dead by Dawn. Which, by the way, I have on Laserdisc, and it's red. My Laserdisc is red. So Evil Dead 2, and then they retell the first Evil Dead in the first 15 minutes of Evil Dead 2, because Evil Dead was such an obscure horror film. It only made like $2 or $3 million total. And so they figured when Evil Dead 2 got a much bigger budget, had a studio release, they had to sort of encapsulate the beginning of Evil Dead, and then they move forward from there. And it's very goofy. It embraces more of the comedy.
Yeah, okay.
Which I don't like as much. I like the ferociousness of this first movie best. Just like I like the first Terminator. I think and the first X-Men. I like the even though they're lower budget, they might not be as slick. There's a purity in there. And I understand there were other horror comedies that had come out. I think Evil Dead 2 came out in I want to say 86. Correct me if I'm wrong. 86. 87, 86, and then Army of Darkness was 93, I think. 93. Well, but you did like it.
I did. I enjoyed it. I jumped a couple times.
But you'd never seen it before.
Never seen it before. Didn't know really what it was about.
Yes. And it's 40 years later and 39 years later. And
yeah.
Would you recommend this to your friends?
I would recommend it to friends who are open to older horror films.
It's so funny that when you say older, to me this is a contemporary movie. Because I saw it
81. Come on, man.
Yeah, but I saw it. I can't think of any movie that I saw in my lifetime as I was growing up. I can never think of as an old movie. To me, an old movie was from the 30s and 40s.
Yeah, but honey, you're not so young
I understand
anymore.
that, but okay, I get it. And I guess that I'm an old middle-aged man with one foot in the grave, but I can't think of Evil Dead as an old film. It was contemporary. I mean, it was one of those seminal, from 1977 up through actually 87. There was a classic period of time where I was a young a kid, and then a young adult, and then a teenager, and then into college. And that period of time, from the time I was like 10 to the time I was 21.
Honey, okay, just
those 11 years.
Think of it this way: I was 9 years old when this movie came out. I mean,
and this is
an old movie.
Anyway,
9.
That brings me to the fact that we have letters and we have people sending in super chats and things. Let me clean these off and read. Got a few letters. Black Phillip Alvarez. Our friend Black Phillip has written another letter. Hello again, Rob, Elizabeth, and the fellow Post-Geek Singularity community. Originally, this was going to be my final letter for October, and I would be recommending a movie I feel is vastly underrated and underappreciated. The movie is The Gift from 2000 and directed by Sam Raimi. Instead, I decided to send this for the Evil Dead episode since Sam Raimi also directed the movie. I will get to my viewpoints on the Evil Dead at the conclusion of this letter. But now, first, let's talk about The Gift. I'm sure the movie became more known for the scene where Katie Holmes reveals her tatas. While lovely indeed, that's far from the reason why I love this movie. It has an amazing cast and was actually co-written by Billy Bob Thornton. The score is amazing and also hooks you from the start. Thornton apparently based it on his mother's own so-called psychic abilities. Now, besides Katie Holmes, the movie also features Cate Blanchett, Giovanni Ribisi, J.K. Simmons, Hilary Swank, Greg Kinnear, and a very creepy and surprisingly good Keanu Reeves. More on his role later. I won't go too much into the plot for those who haven't seen the film. I'll just go over the basic premise. The film takes place in a small rural town where everyone knows one another. Cate Blanchett plays the main character who does tarot readings for the townsfolk and has a reputation for her psychic abilities, one that has mixed feelings amongst the town. She pretty much does these readings pro bono and is usually given fruit or desserts as payment instead. Without giving too much away, the main story is the town law enforcement needing Annie Wilson, Blanchett's abilities, to help find a missing young woman, Jessica King, Katie Holmes. She's the young girlfriend of the local school principal, Wayne Collins, Greg Kinnear. I should mention how Annie is still haunted by the death, not really a spoiler, of her husband, and she's blamed for the death by the townspeople. It's a minor subplot, but adds wind to some of the great suspenseful scenes. A fight they have with the famous topless scene, the night she disappeared, makes him the prime suspect. There's also a subplot that will be a bit unsettling for people who are sensitive to sexual abuse. This involves the character Buddy Cole, played by Giovanni Ribisi. He turns to Annie for help, but she constantly turns him away, saying it's all in his head. The outcome of the subplot is indeed disturbing and crucial to the plot of the movie. You'll never look at a diamond the same way ever again. It's also very well acted, as is much of the performances in the film. Now on to the performances that shocked me the most in a very good way. Keanu Reeves plays Donnie Barksdale, and HFS is he by far the creepiest character in the movie. You instantly hate him right away. He's an abusive husband. Hilary Swank plays the wife. He's manipulative and vindictive, not just to Annie, but to her kids as well. His scenes are very disturbing, and Keanu Reeves completely disappears in the role, and it's pretty important to the plot. I don't want to give anything away, but his demise is very satisfying. It shocked me, though, how good Reeves is in this performance. After all, he's America's BFF, and we all love him, as he's played so many memorable characters in his career. This movie shows he can freaking act, too. It's blasphemy he wasn't nominated for any awards. As promised now, allow me to add a few thoughts about The Evil Dead. I was fairly late to the party simply for being too afraid to watch the movies. I've heard they were very scary, violent, and controversial for the time of their release. They essentially made Sam Raimi a household name for low-budget horror, very similar to Peter Jackson. A funny story I will share is the box cover of Evil Dead 2 used to freak the hell out of me as a kid. I used to turn the boxes around every time I saw it at the video store. I was shocked and surprised in a good way that the movie was more humorous than scary when I finally watched it and thought, what the fuck was the point of the creepy box cover? It's pretty much just a remake of the original, but with humor. It would be late into my adulthood until I finally saw the original Evil Dead. I found it cheap online and thought, why not? And purchased the DVD. I watched it with my ex-wife and the majority of my in-laws. 4 of them tapped out easily, but myself, my ex, and her brother were the ones left watching. Yes, the movie is indeed scary, creepy, and gory, so of course I loved it. The character of Ash has become one of the most popular horror icons in history. Groovy. I did watch Army of Darkness, and while it's fun, I don't find it particularly scary, and it's more of a parody of medieval films. I still appreciate it, though, and I'll purchase the 4K when it's released next year. I recently picked up the first 2 Evil Deads in 4K. I plan to watch them before this show airs. I did love the 2013 Evil Dead remake directed by Fede Alvarez, no relation. I thought it was more gory than scary, though, but still had the spirit of the original, and that's all you can ask for in a remake, to respect the original in a good way. So in conclusion, those are my thoughts on Evil Dead and my recommendation for The Gift. If you haven't seen it, check it out. I didn't want to give too much away, but trust me, it's worth a watch. It's genuinely creepy and scary and disturbing at times, and that's all you can ask for this type of movie. Thank you once again, Rob, Elizabeth, and the Post-Geek Singularity community for allowing me to share another letter for Horror Month. Take care, be safe, and happy Halloween.
Very cool. Have you seen The Gift?
I have seen The Gift.
I love Cate Blanchett. I would totally watch that movie.
Well, that's good. This next one comes from Jared Snyder. Dear Elizabeth and Rob, I saw The Fly on a hot, humid night on its opening weekend in August 1986 at a theater in Long Beach Island, New Jersey. In Philly parlance, we were down the shore, renting a house on the beach. My infant daughter was sleeping under the watchful eye of her grandparents, so for my then-wife, this is a recurring theme for this show, my then-wife and I, this was a rare night out together. Late that afternoon, there'd been a massive thunderstorm that included a drenching downpour. After wading through a couple of inches of water in the parking lot, we learned that a lightning strike had knocked out the power, but the owner would show the movie using a generator. Wow. With no air conditioning, he opened the exit doors that faced, how do you pronounce that? Barnegat Bay, sorry for massacring that, and the vast marshlands beyond. Conditions in the theater were far from ideal, but since it was the opening weekend, it was still packed. All went well, I think, till the scene when Gina Davis dreams of giving birth to a giant maggot. Just then, on cue, the winds shifted to the east, pushing the air from the marshlands into the open exit doors. Within minutes, almost every nocturnal flying insect imaginable was in the darkened theater, attracted by the light. Swarms filled the air. Hordes of flies landed on the screen, and I imagine some people thought this was some William Castle-like gimmick, till the mosquitoes began descending on the tightly packed moviegoers like Japanese dive bombers attacking the hemmed-in battleships at Pearl Harbor. We swatted, bled, and stayed till the end, bug bites and all, and it made me a Fly fan for life.
Could you imagine watching The Fly and then all these bugs coming in? That's
Happy
insane.
Halloween, Jared Snyder. Jared, that is why we do this show, to get letters like this.
Wow.
Let's see. I'm going to cut over here.
Nightmares.
That is fantastic. That is amazing. Let's see where we're at. The chairman says, Rob, you forgot to read my letter on Shivers. I haven't seen your letter on Shivers, Jeffrey Mao. I will look for that, and we can read it on Thursday. Julius Goodwin is here. Hello, Julius. Maybe it's just me, but the title of a book translates to Book of the Dead. Its skin is crafted from a goat, and its pages were written by a mad monk. Let's just say my first thought isn't, wow, let's read from this like we're in a book club.
Right.
Oh, and let's read it even though we don't understand the language. It sounds kind of sinister, and it's dead in the middle of the night in a deserted cabin in the woods. Yeah, nothing can go wrong here. You know, some people just deserve it, I swear. Well, Julius, I can...
Well, when you're young, you think you're invincible. You don't even think anything of it.
Is that true?
Yeah.
All right. I guess, well, Tim is here. Tim the Spider Monkey's here. He says, I love The Evil Dead, but by far prefer Evil Dead 2. What did you think of Ash versus The Evil Dead? It's my favorite show of the last few years. It's funny but still scary. Also, yes, you should do Miller's Crossing just to stop me from asking for it. I haven't watched a lot of Ash versus The Evil Dead. I watched some of it. I liked it. but my whole thing, like, look, I worked on Army of Darkness for many months, and I was either at Introvision, where they were shooting effects, or I was in Acton, where they were shooting all the castle stuff. And even though I was only a PA, I had to bring all kinds of... we were doing the Deadites and the Evil Ash stuff. And I was working for Tony Gardner's Altarian Studios. We're a special effects makeup studio. And it was just... Even watching it being made, it was just so goofy. I mean, Army of Darkness is so goofy. And while I get it, like, I understand it, Raimi went through this period. I would consider Darkman part of that, and then Army of Darkness. And the goofiness, I wasn't feeling it.
No.
You know, I want...
You're not a huge comedy...
I mean, look, I like really smart comedies. Like, my favorite comedies, movies like Tootsie is a favorite comedy of mine. You know, I like smart, character-based comedy. The goofiness... Look, Sam Raimi loves the Three Stooges. That's why he has fake shemps in these movies. And I get it. I totally understand. But I want my horror to be horrific.
Yeah, I get that.
You know, the humor in horror is, I don't know. Timbula goes on to say, I've stayed in cabins that look very much like the one in the movie. No deadites or books bound in human flesh, but lots of very large Australian spiders and snakes. It'll take the demons anyway. I'll take the demons anyway. Yeah, I mean, if you've ever been to Australia, wait till you see your first huntsman spider. That fly. Because they spew out so they can drift on the wind, and they're huge. Oh. Like this big. Oh. Terrifying.
That is terrifying.
Terrifying. Look who's here. Dieter Shiny Bastion. Hello, Rob. No. Dieter says, the movie's reputation was off the charts back in the day. You were lucky to see it from a bad VHS tape, which was copied to death, because the movie was forbidden for the longest time. No, I saw it in the theater for the first time. You could write books about the release history of the film in Germany. Yeah, I mean, the movie was forbidden. It was forbidden for the longest time. It was a video nasty. And what's so funny is, it's not like this movie is Last House on the Left or Texas Chainsaw. It's so goofy fun. I mean, it's horrific, but it's hard to take seriously.
Yeah.
John Suntress from the Word Balloon Podcast. If you don't listen to the Word Balloon Podcast, you should. John Suntress always has some of the best guests in pop culture. John says, Ace is sadly right. Our favorite films are over 30 years old. By the way, great job on your Baltimore Comic-Con panels. The 8-hour-long streams are at Baltimore Comic-Con Live. We'll be posting the individual hours in the days ahead. I'll send you links to you and the Richard. For those who are wondering what John is talking about, I was a moderator of some great conversations. I did 4 great conversations at the Baltimore Comic-Con with people like Ross Ritchie and the founder of Boom Studios, and Rodney Barnes, who is writing the great comic Philadelphia, and people like Tom King and Cecil, who have written Fourth World books for DC. It was a lot of fun. I had a tremendous time. I can't wait to. I would suggest checking out all the conversations because they were all pretty good. Tim goes on to say, I'd also like to suggest A Simple Plan. I loved the book A Simple Plan. By the way, Scott Smith, who wrote A Simple Plan, also wrote why am I drawing a blank on it? Oh my God. The book about the vines and the Mayan. Anyway, Scott Smith, who wrote A Simple Plan. That book is amazing. I read it in one sitting. He also wrote The Ruins. The Ruins is a horror film that I love that doesn't get enough love. But he said, I'd also like to suggest A Simple Plan for sometime after October. As much as I love the Evil Dead series, A Simple Plan is my favorite Raimi film. A Simple Plan might very well be my favorite Raimi film. I agree. I love A Simple Plan. I think it's great. I think Spider-Man 2 and A Simple Plan are my favorites. Layla and the Thunderbirds sent a super chat and said, between Crash and the Evil Dead reviews, I'm learning that dude film is apparently my favorite genre.
Yes.
Well, I thought you don't do you not like dude films? I mean,
I didn't say I don't like them. I'm just saying these things come out of the little boy in men.
Yeah, but is that wrong?
I didn't say that was wrong.
I mean, I think that the little boy in men is what drives us to create things in the first place.
Which is wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, why did George Lucas make Star Wars?
Yes.
Because he was remembering Flash Gordon when he was a kid.
Yes.
So, I mean, but you enjoy these movies.
I do enjoy them.
So, let me ask you this. Is there a flip side to the dude movie? Is there the chick movie? I mean, what would be
well,
if
we know
a dude...
there's chick movies.
Well, yeah, but chick movies seem to be... Okay, so like, boy movies are butterscotch tails and whatever. And puppy dog tails and pigtail... What?
I don't know.
Inkwell, whatever.
Yeah, that.
Sure. So girl movies, like chick movies, are we all know what they are, and I like chick movies. Like I love things like The Holiday, or
right.
I'll rock The Notebook now and again. I'm all right with that. That's cool. But but horror as a genre, women like horror as well.
They do, but okay, I'm not saying all horror are dude films. They're not. I'm saying when it reaches a certain point where the gore is pushed and pushed and pushed. It's like a little boy doesn't know when to stop. It's like when a little boy teases a little girl. It's like he won't stop. And so I feel like it becomes a dude moment or a dude film when like the gore or some element of the film is just, he takes it too far. He's like, he just won't stop. It's like more and more and more and more and more. It's like explosions in films. Like, okay, we saw an explosion, but then it's like keeps going and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
All right, I would say that, but I think that there's a lot to be said for that. I mean, that dude sensibility is what makes you want to go further.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just pointing it out that it's a dude moment.
All right, I'll go with you there. Dieter Bastian sends in another super chat and says, "It's called Dance of the Devils in Germany." I like that as a title.
Ooh.
Dance of the Devils is a good...
That's a much better
That's
title.
a good title. I mean, look, I think the reason this movie became notorious is because it was called The Evil Dead. But I love Dance of the Devils as a title.
Yeah, but if it never had that title, and if it had a different title, then it would have been that title that was like that made.
Yeah, the problem with Dance of the Devils, I love that title for this movie, but it doesn't have the punch. Dance of the Devils, anything with dance in it doesn't sound as forbidden as The Evil Dead. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not. It doesn't.
Dieter says he sent a picture. Ash should have used Elizabeth's tip, considering possessed people, and just say, "Go away."
Yes! In the name of Jesus Christ! Get out!
The power of Christ compels you.
Yes!
The power of Christ compels you. Well, that's our Saturday movie.
In the name of Jesus Christ, get out.
Well, as a Jew, what's Jesus Christ going to do for me?
Huh?
Well, I don't think as a Jew, if I were to say in the name of Jesus Christ, get out.
Yes, because Jesus was a Jew.
Yeah, but I don't believe that he was the Moshiach, the Savior.
But he was still a rabbi.
Yeah, but I don't think my belief in him is going to help me when I'm dealing with a demon.
It doesn't matter. It just takes the faith of a mustard seed.
That is not true. We learned from Fright Night, the movie Fright Night, you have to have faith in the cross for this to work on me, Mr. Vincent.
You just need the faith of a mustard seed. So if you believe just even a tiny, tiny bit. You know how small a mustard seed is? It's tiny.
It doesn't work. The supernatural needs more than just the belief of a mustard seed.
Yes. If you have a tiny bit of belief, you just say Jesus Christ in the name
I don't
of
think
Jesus
that's going to
Christ,
work with Kandarian demons. I think they're going to laugh in your face.
It does work.
I don't think it does.
It does.
I don't think so. I think it's bad.
Trust me.
I don't think it does.
It does work.
Well, anyway, Elizabeth, we're at that time. We're over time.
Wow.
So it comes down to it. It comes down to our bottoms up scale.
Yes, our bottoms up scale.
Our bottoms up scale on a scale of 1 to 4 glasses of wine.
Because there are 4 glasses in a bottle.
The Evil Dead would what would you rate The Evil Dead as far as...
I would give The Evil Dead 3 glasses of wine.
3 glasses of wine for The Evil Dead?
Yeah.
See, I'm going to give, for its place in history and for as much as I love this movie, I'm giving this movie 3.5 glasses of wine.
Awesome.
I can't give it 4 glasses of wine, even though I think that there are some people that could make the argument that it deserves 4 glasses of wine, but I'm going to give it 3.5 glasses of wine. Because I love it. So, I guess that brings us to an end.
It does. What are we doing on Wednesday?
Thursday.
Thursday.
Are we going to do Hills Run Red?
Hills Run Red?
Well, I don't know. I mean, are you going to be able to talk to Dave Parker honestly about it?
I hope so.
I think it'd be fun. We've never had a director. Philip Alvarez sends in a tip and says, my entire collection are dude movies. Says, I love this show. Keep it up.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Captain Beanzino.
That's awesome, Philip. Black Philip.
Captain Beanzino, very much.
So what do you guys think? Should we do the Hills Run Red with Dave?
Yeah, have Dave Parker as a guest.
I mean, but consider how much Dave is saying yes.
Dave Parker says yes.
Okay, Dave, but don't be upset with me if I, I mean, I don't know how I'll feel about the film, but I want to be able to talk honestly about how I feel about the film.
I want to see if you can make Dave Parker cry.
I will not make Dave Parker cry.
You might.
No way.
I hope Dave Parker will talk to me after he comes on the show with you.
Oh, come on. Am I really that bad?
No. No, but
I might call it a dude movie. I hope that doesn't offend.
Actually, there's very strong women in The Hills Run Red.
Okay, so maybe it's not a dude movie.
It could very well be. It could very well be.
Okay, what do you guys think? Should we do The Hills Run Red?
The Hills Run, we'll change it up. Well, no, we'll do The Shining and Doctor Sleep later.
Okay, I'm good with that because I really love those films.
Yeah, and I think I want to be self-aggrandizing and promote myself. And Dave.
Oh, Dave says I can pretty much imagine what you will think. Is that good or bad?
Well, there you go.
All right, I guess we're doing The Hills Run Red.
We're gonna do The Hills Run Red. I don't know if anyone's seen it, but you can see it. It's out there. It's like on Roku and Vudu, right? Dave.
Oh yeah, okay.
People can see it, right?
Maybe Richard can do a
oh yeah,
Zoom
Richard
party.
should do a watch party. Okay, I want to thank you to say thanks to my moderating staff, Mike Bodden, Greg Smith, the Richard's in the hospital.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what's up. I just saw it that he's in the hospital.
Where did you see that?
It was on the moderating group. So we want Richard to get better.
Oh.
And hopefully everything is okay with him. I don't know exactly what's up, but Robert Priso's here. I don't know who else was here. Let's see. Bunyan Snipe is here. Thank you, Bunyan, who makes a great Skeletor. If you were there for the Halloween stream,
so cool.
I want to thank you guys for being here. And I think that's who's here, so that's good. And thank you for being. We have a great moderating staff, and I want to thank everybody for supporting the show. Thank everybody who's become members of the show and tips and super chats. Thank you so much. Please subscribe if you have not. Now, when we finish Halloween week, we are starting James Bond. We're doing a Bond-a-thon because No Time to Die was supposed to come out in November, and we're celebrating James Bond. And we are going to watch one Bond movie from every James Bond actor. So we're going to be watching Goldfinger, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, The Spy Who Loved Me, The Living Daylights, GoldenEye, and Skyfall.
And guess what? We're going to free the Bond toys.
Actually, the Bond toys are from Live and Let Die, but okay.
I don't care where they're from.
Yeah, from Live and Let Die.
Well, I'm worried now about the Richard.
Yeah, I'm worried about the Richard, too.
I have to call him.
I am worried about the Richard. Yeah. So I guess Halloween week will roll on. We're going to have our first guest director on the show. We've never had a director before. Dave Parker, who conceived of the character of the psycho killer Babyface, his look. Maybe we'll show some behind-the-scenes footage on the show, too.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Mm-hmm.
We'll do that. We'll show some behind-the-scenes footage. We'll show a little bit of Dave directing on the set of The Hills Run Red. And, as a shameless plug, if you have Amazon, you could actually buy the Scream Factory Blu-ray of The Hills Run Red that has 6.5 hours of bonus special features. It's got about like 8.5 hours or 10 hours total before, if you order it on Amazon right now.
If you order right now, you'll get it in time to watch it.
Yeah, you'll get it in time to watch it. And I highly recommend, if you collect physical media, you should buy the beautiful Scream Factory video or disc of The Hills Run Red, because it's a gorgeous disc and it is packed with special features. Dave Parker directed it. I produced it. Dave Scow wrote it. And it's a hoot. And Joel Silver was our executive producer. So there you go. And on that note, why don't you take us out?
Everyone you meet has a story to tell that you have yet to hear, and all you have to do is listen.
All you have to do is listen. And with that,
have a better night.
Have a better night. Thanks very much. And these Halloween shows have been great. And then we're doing James Bond after that. So actually, when James Bond starts is Monday or Tuesday, like a week from today.
I'm so excited.
So yeah, we'll do James Bond.
And also send good vibes to the.
And
Richard.
send good vibes to the Richard. We got to have the Richard back. Mm-hmm. And with that, yes, have a better night.
Good night.
Episode 90 comes to an end.